Ugh.
Hello guys, and welcome back to some more Death Stranding.
I'm sorry, Lisa. I screwed it up. I've ruined everything.
This room is off limits. No one goes in. When he's in there, sir, I saw him. You saw him wrong. Now check the other way. Go! Yes, sir.
No. Open it up, he's inside.
Move, dumbass.
BB. Don't worry. It's okay. I'll always be with you. See the sunset, the day is ending. Let that yawn out, there's no pretending. I will hold you and protect you. So let love warm you till the morning. When I found out I was gonna be a father, I was so scared. Scared of what it would mean. I had to be there for you and your mom, no matter what. I couldn't just go off and get myself killed anymore. Couldn't leave you all alone. I couldn't.
Get off of him! Now!
I had it all wrong. All wrong. Being a father didn't make me scared. It made me brave. I'm sorry. Sorry it took me so long.
Captain, look at you.
Don't make the same mistake. Be yourself. Be free.
Oh my God.
Captain, I need you to hand it over.
Shoot him, John.
Let it go. Please.
Shoot him! I gave you an order. Shoot him!
You told me your name was Sam Porter. But you're Sam Bridges. My son. My bridge to the future. Without you, I was just like any other Cliff. A dead end. No way forward. Nothing but an obstacle. Looking on at the world people like you were trying to build. Dividing people was the only thing I was ever good at. But not you, Sam. You bring people together. You're their bridge to the future. And mine. Come on, Sam. Stand up.
Is this me?
Oh, God. Not BB2.
No, 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 no! Sam. There you are.
Oh yeah, the marking. That was like a dead giveaway. Completely never noticed it.
I know the way. Welcome back.
You understand his days as a BB are over, now that his connection to the other side has been severed.
It was me who cut the cord. So yes.
A deathless repatriate in the world of the living. Should we decommission him?
In a manner of speaking. Take him out of the pod. I'll raise him as my own.
Come on, Lou, wake up. Wake up. Come on. Wake up! Come on, Lou, wake up. Lou.
phenomenal. Probably the best ending of any game I've played, right there with Cyberpunk. I actually like both endings, at least the ending I got in Cyberpunk. There are multiple endings, and the one I got was really awesome. But this one beats it. So this probably this is the best video game ending I've ever had in a video game. So, and just great characters. I tried to say something like it a bit earlier. Let me just turn it down so I can think. So to start off with, let me just put a graph on the screen. Bam, right there. There you have a graph on the screen. Phenomenal game. It's phenomenal, by the way. I cannot stress enough, if there's a game I ever have to point out to someone that says games aren't art and that they're just entertainment itself, and they're not really there to be on the museum next to an art piece like the Mona Lisa or whatever, I would be pointing to this game and I would tell them, you're wrong. Games can be art. Games are art. And here's an example of what an art piece of a game could be. With symbolism everywhere, like quotes used throughout history, the idea of life and death, the whole Big Bang Theory and the reason why humans exist, like all of this game touches all of it. It touches all of humanity, which seems to be like the goal of the game. So it seems to be a game that tries to embody all of what humanity has done throughout history, throughout time, and how we have built up our society and our world as we know it today. And they told it in a way that was extremely creative and very well written. So wait, it was written by Hideo Kojima himself and 2 other people. Dang, that is some top-notch like writing, and also very creative game, I will say. I think like we don't see a lot of original IP these days, and the fact that Kojima made one and one so intriguing and interesting as this one, I really have to commend him for that. This is a true art piece. I will say that. If there was ever a game I would pick, like I said, as an art piece in a museum, out of all games, it would be this one. And despite what a lot of big gamers believe, it's not because of the graphics, even though they were completely fine and a perfect fit for this game. Of course, the longer render distance would have been great, because I didn't notice the render distance. But ultimately, the performance I got was perfect for the type of game this is, and I also got the aesthetic, the art direction, all of that. It clearly got to me. So even though I noticed render distances being lower, what they wanted to convey got conveyed to me, and it just worked out. It just worked out. So let's start by talking about characters. You have an abundance of characters, probably the most diverse characters I've ever seen in a video game. And that's saying a lot, considering I played a lot of video games. But here you have like very different characters. A dead man, which is a guy made out of dead bodies. You have a Die Hardman, which has a backstory of being like a soldier and everything, and now being like the leader of Bridges. And then you have like Bridget, which is also Amelie, which is also both of them at the same time, which uses like a theory of like soul and body being separated. Again, a theme of life after death. And the fact that humans have a soul, which, you know, is not technically proven, but I mean, it's what we have in history books and not history, in theoretical books and everything. So them going with it makes sense. The creativity is just off the charts. And when it comes to the characters, that is felt. There are so many different characters, different situations, different, even like, it was even diverse. One thing that really stood out to me was the Asian lady, who I thought was like a little girl, which apparently was the same age as the guy, the junk dealer. Like all of them stood out to me, and it really stayed with me. Like all of the people in the game, I can come up with something that kind of stands them apart, or makes them stand apart. Even the weird like people in charge of the stations, the ones you don't really talk to a whole lot, they even had personalities that fit their post. Like, they were so well written. All the characters so well written. I don't know a whole lot I would have done different. Maybe more characters. Maybe make one actually join you on your adventure. Instead of BB, which is also a character that's pretty well written. BB also has a personality, which is crazy. So when it comes to characters, this is pretty much like a 9 out of 10. I can barely come up with any other like characters that can add it, except just some more characters, because they're so very well designed and thought of. There was like Mama's situation where her character was like cut the umbilical cord to reconnect with her twin, I guess you could call it. I was about to call sister, but technically it's twin. And I was a bit surprised by it because it was like a lot of research gone to waste. But I mean, if that's what you want, it's what you wanted. But she was supposed to be smarter than that. So that's why sometimes there are some things. But I'll still say it's a 9 out of 10. It would be a 10 out of 10 if I couldn't come up with anything. But there are a few things here and there, and I mean a very few things here and there. That's like something I didn't like about the characters. And then there are a lot of subtle things that just add to the characters and everything. And even Sam, like the main issue I have with Sam is that his character is barely felt throughout the game, even though you play as him. He's still there, he still gets character progression, but it only really happens and only really is seen in cutscenes. And a part of me just feels like I didn't get enough voice lines from Norman Reedus to actually have him speak when he delivers stuff. So his personality was kind of missing, in my opinion, from the actual main gameplay of the game. But in cutscenes, his personality is well portrayed. Even Amelie, which is... Because like, I never thought of Amelie, even at the end, I didn't see her as a bad person that wanted to end the world. I never felt threatened, I never felt in danger because of her. Only Higgs gave that impression. But Amelie was, even when I knew she was bad and something was off, I was always like, she never intended anything bad to really happen. Like as in, she didn't do it because she wanted to hurt anyone. It was more to save everyone and cause a new beginning, which is crazy as well. Like again, that kind of intertwines with the story, but yeah, it's well-made characters. Just 9 out of 10. Barely can come up with anything else. The story itself, are there any plot holes? I mean, they wrote it in a way where any blood hole could be lore-friendly, if that makes sense. Like, they wrote it in a weird way. And that's like Kojima's thing, as far as I understand, where he writes things so anything is possible. It's like, oh, dead man. Well, he's an actual dead man. And I'm like, what? How does that work? And it's like, they show us all this technology in the game that can do literally anything, like fabricate equipment and all that stuff, and I'm just like, so anything is technically possible, is what you're telling me in the law of the world. So it's hard to find blood holes that aren't possible. They're freaking tornadoes that tell you to, or that go into like freaking beaches. Like, it's weird. They have a baby in your throat, which is explained in a weird way. Either that it's Sam himself, which I would assume. I always assumed it was like BB, but it seems to be Sam that is the baby in the throat. It's himself who makes him repatriate because of his past. The fact that he is technically Sam is a living being without a soul, right? Because he doesn't go to the beach, which means his soul is already gone. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, anything could be either a missed thing they decided to like just ignore, or it could be part of the lore that they can add on to. So story-wise, they pretty much covered themselves up. They pretty much covered their mistakes. Even if there are mistakes, they could just be lore, which is a very smart way of writing the story. Again, that's why I want to like say good job on the writers. CD Projekt Red and stuff. Oh yeah, that's because of the things in the game. The only issue with the story is that they had like things in the game that were not lore-friendly, like the cyber arm. They tried to make it lore-friendly, but it was obvious that they didn't have cyber arms in the game. Like, there was a hint of it at some point where they said like something about making their bodies robotic, the roboticist or something, that they should replace human parts or something. But there is no story-based thing that shows that Sam got his arm replaced or should get his arm replaced at any point. Even with like a weird exosuit, nothing like that. Would it be possible in the game? Probably. But nothing hinted at them making full cybernetic body parts. The second game, I don't know. I did see some of the trailers, and it looks like someone has cybernetic body parts. I'm not entirely sure though. So I'm not entirely sure about that, but it could very well be the case that it's possible. And but it didn't feel like it fit in the other one. And I'm gonna stop now so we can see this at the very least.
Louise.
Oh, it's a girl. Okay. Lou for Louise, huh? I always thought it was a guy, but no, it's a girl apparently. And on top of everything else going on, like it's just crazy that the story went the places it did. Like even if there were some unimmersive parts, it was still pretty good. And they did do like things like with Cyberpunk. They did things with other games. What was the other game? I don't remember. The Cyberpunk was the most prominent one in my opinion. They had Monster Energy Drink. Like things like that did kind of drag it down in immersiveness. But they replaced it with Timefall Water later on. So I would like story wise, if it was without any of those things. There are a few things where I'm asking questions that could be answered later on. But some of the things I was thinking about, like the pizza deliveries to Higgs or anything like that. I mean, technically that's possible, but why would he show it and why would he get a pizza at the end? Because he was supposed to be trapped on the beach, right? How would he order that? Unless he pre-made it? Like, it's some of those stuff, you know? So they covered themselves pretty well, but there are some unimmersive things in the game. And I will... Tumbles take it. Okay. Great. 555 orders. I would say that's pretty good. I would definitely say that's pretty good. But yeah, I'll definitely say that the story-wise, I like it, and I think they did a very good job. But there are some immersive things, and I feel like they could have included a bit more of Sam's story in the game, because we still don't know why he has handprints all over him. Like, we still don't know that. The only thing I could think of that was close to it was when his dad was... like, you know, Clifford touched him on his arms and shoulders and everything before he got shot. That part I am also a bit confused about, because that would indicate that he changed the past. Like, Sam changed the past when he had him, like, stand over him and turn his back towards them. And then he got shot. So either Sam interpreted it differently, or he did change the past, which would have a lot of indications, because it said it was a multiverse, like the beach was a multiverse and stuff. Again, that's a lot of stuff going on. So it's a bunch of things going on. They did end Clifford's story pretty much. Great acting, by the way, from Mads Mikkelsen. Now I'm Danish, of course, so I know how to pronounce his name properly. But, you know, I guess English people don't have a silent D in their name. Just ignore the D in the section how I pronounce his name, Mads Mikkelsen. But ultimately, great game. Great game. When it comes to story, especially, it was very well made. I don't really know how to make it myself any better, and I will also have to give that a 9 out of 10, because I don't think the blood... Like, I can't think of any plot holes in this story per se right now. I mean, I guess technically I do have one, but it's more on the gameplay side. Actually, I do have a few, but that's more on the gameplay side, not exactly on the story side itself. It's more like people delivering stuff. There aren't a lot of them, and they're not really doing proper orders, and the robots doing orders. Like... Some of those things are a bit weird, like the robots never getting stopped by mules, as an example. The mules existing and getting knocked out and then still staying there. No one comes to collect them, put them in jail. Like, what? So, I was thinking of giving it a 9, but now that I'm thinking about certain things gameplay-wise, that is still part of the story, and I will have to drag it down for that, so it's an 8 out of 10 in that department. I'm sorry, but you need to translate the story into gameplay as well. You can't just have the story be separate, which it feels like this game had a lot of that, like those issues where the story was kind of separate from the gameplay itself. and then only in specific story moments were the gameplay complementary to the story. If you get what I mean. Like in the end, it was all complementary to the story. After you got to the West, it was all complementary to the story. Before that, you just kind of ran around delivering stuff. And that's not necessarily bad because you got to know people, but the people are not really relevant in a lot of cases with the main story, except being like more moral people, like they give you morale and kind of show you the types of people there are. But ultimately, every character he met on the gameplay side, like all had one thing, and that's just made him connect with people, so he learned to kind of change and accept people and actually care about people, which was the main weird thing in the end for me. That they didn't really translate that very well into gameplay. And that's not just because I went ahead and killed all the mules. That's separate. They're punishing you for it. They didn't law-wise. He didn't do that, and I knew that when I did it because it punishes you for it, and it tells you the BB/Lou didn't like that. They also had some subtle story hints with Lou being named, with BB being named Lou at some point, and Sam being like changing. And like things in the location he's at, and this toy soldiers, by the way, which also has a meaning. The little area you can go to, the fact that just hand gestures and everything, like all of it adds to the story. It's just sad a little bit that the gameplay itself didn't really do that. To actually add to the story itself, it was more just a roadblock that you went to fix, and then you went ahead and did the other story stuff, and then the characters became relevant later in some way or another. But it feels like everything they're saying could be said by literally anyone else in the story. Like Hartman, it could just be Deadman. He already says a lot of the stuff that I would expect Hartman to say. What Lochner says, well, they could be said by Mama as an example, which is also part of her personality, but it was also said by anyone else, literally. Like, because she doesn't really have a special place in the story besides just being proof that there's something weird with the beach, and that could literally have been anything. Because Amelie and Bridget has the same thing. To a certain extent, it's different, but it's the same. I mean, it took 27 hours for me to complete the game, as you can see right there, apparently. Although I would say 26 hours personally, because a lot of it was just me staring at nothing. So yeah. But that's a story for you. I mean, 8 out of 10. If they had fixed things gameplay-wise, I would definitely have given that a 9. But gameplay-wise, there are some disconnections here and there. And I feel like if Sam took out those guys, like the mules, as an example, without killing them, someone should have come to collect them and put them in jail so they don't go to camp again, instead of me having to kill them and then they're not coming back again. The only reason why they came back after this story, by the way, I did make sure when I did when I drove past them, I did make sure, like I didn't look anything up or anything. But when I drove past them, they had guns and they looked like the terrorists, so it's just that terrorists had moved in instead of the mules. That's literally the only difference that I could see. Although they didn't really give a specific reason for that either. So there are some things, gameplay-wise, that just does not fit the story. And that's okay, because a lot of games have the same problem. But it would definitely have been the proper way of doing things, from my perspective, if they or improving things if they did that. Okay, so the next thing is probably environment, I think, and everything. This game is all about the environment and traveling around. Ultimately, I said I did a good job. I have certain issues with the environment, mainly how it connects to the physics. Because the environment itself is pretty good. I have no issues with the environment. How it's made, how it functions, how all of those things work. It's how you interact with the environment I have issues with. Ultimately, it is pretty dang good how they did the online system, which is part of the environment, by the way, because it's kind of how the whole thing works. And how the environment is supposed to be your enemy and an obstacle to you. Kind of like SnowRunner and other like world building games where you kind of have to fight the environment in order to get to the goal. And the funny part is, I just need to say this now because a lot of game companies say this is not possible, or they refuse to fix it. But this game makes going from A to B actually fun. You know how usually you play like games like, let's say, Assassin's Creed, where you go do one main quest and go to the next one. And today, fast traveling is more prominent than ever. This game proves that fast traveling is so unnecessary unless you're like on like limited time and you really need to do things fast. Fast travel is great for that stuff. It's also great if you don't like, although you pay for the game, but if you don't like the game or like parts of the game, you can skip them. Or if you speed run or something like that, that's also possible. In any case, everyone in the gaming industry says you cannot fix that because it will be too time consuming and too weird to make a game from going A to B. And then Kojima was like, all right, I'm just going to make a game purely about that. I'm going to make a game about going from A to B. And it worked. He actually made a game going A to B and everything worked out. And then not only did he focus on one specific thing, going from one location to the next, which is like the whole thing of the game. Like if you boil down the game to literally what it is going from A to B, and then of course to C and then D. But ultimately, it's about going from place to place. And the idea that a game is built around that is super weird, because most games today have that specific weakness of traveling from this location to the other one is extremely empty in between. There's nothing to do. So it feels like a waste of time, which is why fast travel is the solution there. And I myself, and I'm pretty sure I've said this in other reviews of games after I finished them, the main issue with games is fast traveling, or whether that you travel, but it doesn't feel like you're actually traveling. It feels like you're just going through an empty wasteland with no content whatsoever. And they can add dynamic events, something like that, to the game world. I understand that it has to be quiet times, and I understand that, and it's also pretty good because this game also does that. But it makes it so even the quiet times have some kind of thing that goes on. Whether it's story beats, whether it's music that starts playing, whether it's the environment doing something. Like the world reacts to what you do, and therefore when you do something, it feels like it just entertains you in a way. It gives you dopamine. It makes you feel like you did something that caused something else to happen. So I would definitely say that's great, and that's fantastic. And I'm running out of space again. I'll run out of space, so I need to be careful about how long I speak about this. But yeah, they solved it with this game, and I give them props for that. Every game developer that says they can't make going from A to B exciting, look at this game. Yes, you can. Alter the environment, make things happen in between A and B, and just kind of think what could be cool to have in between A and B, and there you go. So yeah, environment-wise, they did a good job, but the physics, I think there's more in gameplay, but environment-wise, they did a phenomenal job. Textures, graphics, which I'm also quickly going to touch on. I'm just quickly going to say this. There's nothing I really want to point out. It doesn't look fantastic, but it doesn't look bad either. It looks like it's supposed to. It looks like they tried to optimize and get your PC to run pretty well, and they did. I can pretty much run this game 4K 60 FPS native if I really wanted to. Only reason why I use quality DLSS is because I wanted to make sure I had a steady 60 FPS, because it could probably drop down to 55 or 50 or 45 sometimes in certain areas if you're not careful. So I locked mine to 60. And I also made sure that I used DLSS quality just in case. Just in case. But I could definitely upgrade and be way above like 60 FPS if I wanted to. On a 4070 Ti Super, by the way. So that's something to be aware of. Like, this game performs very well, and if you are afraid of performance things, don't be. This game performs very well on the highest settings. Although, one complaint I do have about the graphics though is that you cannot customize a lot of graphics, and I feel like for higher end systems, they should have an option to enable like further render distances or something like that. Not a complaint, just a suggestion. I'm not gonna detract points for that. It's just that I feel like maybe if someone has a 5090 as an example, them having like 160 to 180 FPS native 4K means that they're either gonna be like, maybe I can bump up the resolution to 8K and then like you barely see any improvement, or just to make sure they have something that's worth what they're using. That's all. I'm not complaining though. Merely a suggestion. Although I would like more graphics options. That is more of a complaint than more of a feedback thing. More graphics options, please. I think you have like 4 or 5, and none of them really go crazy. I think it's either ultra settings, high and then low, or it is either like high and low. There aren't really a lot of steps in between, so that's kind of poopy, but that's pretty good overall. Gameplay wise, the physics, that's all I really have to say. I'm running out of space, I'm gonna have to be quick. But the physics sucked. Please fix them. I've heard from a friend that they also suck in the second game. Kind of sad. I was hoping they wouldn't, but apparently they do. But yeah, the physics of vehicles and how you run around, sometimes it works in different ways it's not supposed to, and other times it does work. But yeah, I encountered them so much that it really ruined my gameplay experience that I have so many physics issues. And if you want an off-terrain vehicle or like a non-terrain vehicle, make it just perform worse or get stuck while sliding or something in a way that makes sense physically instead of just make it slide sideways when the wheels are made of... That's not how it works. All right? Fix the vehicles, make them work properly. That's all I kind of have to say about that. Like, the physics are broken. I wish they would double check them. Everything feels floaty. It doesn't feel like how it's supposed to. It feels like the ground and the vehicle is separated and made of two different materials. When you're supposed to have rubber on, like, the ground, and usually the ground moves, and then maybe you slide a little bit, but you don't, like, slide and can't turn or anything. I just think that's kind of stupid. But they have to balance it some way. I just asked that they do it another way. I'm doing this fast because I have 13 gigabytes left, and it goes down extremely fast. So yeah, graphics, everything, so environment, yep. I'm not going to tell you what I'm rating them. I'm just going to give you the straight up overall rating for now. And of course, you have seen it on the screen this whole time. It is an 8 out of 10. This game really connected with me. I felt a lot what the characters felt. The story and the characters are definitely carrying this up big time. But gameplay-wise, they kept adding new things, new cool stuff, and that also highlighted everything in my game. So gameplay, story, and characters is the cool thing about this game, but ultimately what kept me engaged from going A to B was the system they had in place, the online one, where you can build stuff for other players and you can get other players' structures. And that system is so great, and I wish all games had something like it, in a way, that you could turn off and on. And I would highly recommend that if you play this game, you keep that thing on. And with that being said, I am running out of space now, so I have to end this video. But yeah, like I said, 8 out of 10 game, would recommend. And what price would I recommend it for? Maybe $20, I'd say. 25 if you really want to be nice, but like $20 I'd say is pretty good for this game. You can get a lot of time out of it. Ultimately, it's running A to B, and it's not everyone's cup of tea, but I loved it. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed watching. Hope to see you guys in another Let's Play of mine. Consider liking, subscribing, and sharing, or another game I play through of mine, or whatever you want to call it. Consider liking, subscribing, and sharing, and as always, stay awesome.